in broad daylight, in front of hundreds of visitors, inside one of the most famous museums in the world. A priceless collection of royal jewels disappeared. What's even more shocking, no one realized the theft had happened. Not the tourists, not the museum staff, not even the security guards. Minutes later, investigators arrived to find shattered glass and empty display cases. The thieves had vanished, along with centuries of history. So, how do you steal priceless jewels from one of the world's most protected museums without anyone noticing? To understand how this happened, we have to go back to the moment everyone believed it was impossible. To understand why the robbery was impossible, let's take a look at the security layers of the Louvre Museum, which safeguards priceless treasures from ancient times. The first security layer was the guards, numerous, highly skilled, and strictly law-abiding. The second layer was the security cameras, which monitored most areas, with guards behind them watching the museum through hundreds of monitors. The next security layer consisted of lasers around the display cases, which would activate the alarm system at the slightest movement. The following layer was vibration sensors placed beneath the display cases, triggering the alarm system with the tiniest tremor. Moreover, the glass on these display cases was extremely thick, making it impossible to break by hand. All museum entrances were also manned by guards, making entry or exit impossible without being checked. Additionally, the windows on all floors were reinforced. And the final layer was France's BRI, Brigade de Recherche et d'Intervention, forces who could reach the museum within 10 minutes in the event of any danger. But despite all these security measures, the priceless artifacts still disappeared, right before the eyes of thousands of people, without anyone initially realizing it or being able to do a thing. November 19th, 2025, the day of the heist. The detective was busy with another case when suddenly he was notified via radio of a robbery that had taken place about 15 minutes earlier. When the location and time were announced, the detective was astonished, constantly asking himself, the Louvre? In the middle of the day? With all that crowd, how was that even possible? When the detective arrived, he spoke with the guards, asked for every detail, and carefully reviewed everything. Then he headed toward the Apollo Gallery, the very gallery from which the artworks had been stolen. The floor was covered in shards of glass, and the detective walked over them, looking around, while this question kept circling in his mind. How did they get in here past all those guards? Suddenly, his eyes fell on a window with its glass smashed. He moved closer, and it seemed he had found the answer to his question. Let's go back to the moment the robbery began. The detective's hunch was exactly right. The thieves had entered through the window. That question was solved, but an even bigger one emerged. How had the thieves managed to get themselves up to this floor, the second floor, in the middle of the day? As the detective stood up to look out the window, his eyes fell on a cherry picker. Well, so that's how they reached this floor. But how did they break the glass? The detective quickly checked the cameras, but as far as he knew, no suspicious activity had been reported. He checked the cameras himself once more. He reviewed every single camera, but the thief point of entry was in a blind spot. Breaking the glass was no easy task, since it consisted of multiple reinforced layers. The detective returned to the crime scene. There, he noticed an angel grinder. So that answered that question. An angel grinder. But wait, how did the thieves enter the building with all that noise without anyone noticing them in the middle of the day? The detective spotted a shop opposite the thieves' point of entry, and he quickly headed toward it. The detective reached the shop and started talking to the owner. His first question was, "Did you see anything unusual at the time of the robbery?" The shopkeeper said, "No, nothing special. Two guys came by with a cherry picker, went up, and started cutting the window glass." The detective pressed. "So why didn't you get suspicious of those two?" the detective asked. The shopkeeper replied, "Well, they looked like construction workers who were just doing their job." Now the puzzle was solved. So they had worn construction worker outfits so that no one would suspect them. After the thieves entered, they began breaking the display case glass. At that moment, the display case sensors were triggered and sent an alert to the police system. So, what solution did the thieves have for this problem? The nearest police station to the museum was about 10 minutes away. Therefore, the thieves had to complete their job and get out in less than 10 minutes. According to the investigations, the thieves carried out the heist and escaped in under 7 minutes. The shopkeeper said they fled on a motorcycle carrying a black bag. The thieves had executed their plan with extreme precision and professionalism, leaving no traces behind. All the items the thieves had left behind were sent to the lab. One of them was the angle grinder, and the other was a crown. Why had the thieves left that behind? Was it their calling card? Were they trying to send a specific message to the police? Or had they simply forgotten it? The investigation unit began examining the items. There were no fingerprints on them, but the thieves had forgotten one crucial detail: sweat. While working, perspiration would have dripped onto the angle grinder, and sweat contains DNA molecules. The investigation unit took a sample from it. The DNA sample led them to a thief with a prior criminal record. Immediately, the police ran checks on him everywhere, from his place of residence to his phone. Finally, they found a plane ticket dated for the following day from France to Algeria. The next day, the police arrested him at the airport as soon as they spotted him. After extensive interrogation, he gave up the names of 2 of his accomplices. The other thieves were also arrested, but the 4th person, who was said to be the mastermind of the group, was never found, and no one ever spoke his name. The Apollo Gallery, once home to the most dazzling jewels of the French crown. Crowns that adorn queens, necklaces that gleamed at coronations. But now, the display cases are empty. Velvet cushions, border. History itself has stepped out of its frames and vanished. Marie-Amélie sapphires, Marie-Louise emeralds, Eugenie's tiara. These were not just jewels, they were pages of French history. And now, no one knows where they are. Police suspect underground networks, but there is no proof. A hidden warehouse in Paris? Smuggled abroad? And here's the strangest part. The thieves were caught. They confessed, but none of them ever revealed where they hid the jewels. Not in interrogation, not in court. They chose silence, as if this secret was worth more than their freedom. So the jewels stay missing. The secret remains unsolved. But this is not the end. In our next video, we dive into history's greatest unsolved art heist. $500 million in masterpieces vanished for 35 years. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And comment below, what do you think the Louvre jewels are now?